So I finished my velvet trousers. I'm really pleased with them. They're very comfortable and they do go really nicely with the kimonos, I think. You'll have seen that in, would it be last week's video now? Well, you'll have seen it in a previous video, let's say, because my timescale's a bit off sometimes. Anyway, so the good news is that I have a load left. Now it's a sort of a skinny bit that was all down the side of the length of my fabric, because by the time I cut the two legs out, there was this extra bit. Now it's not very wide, as you can see, not really wide enough to do much at all, but I was thinking waistcoat. What do you think? I mean, waistcoat side panels aren't very big, are they? And then if I did the back in a sort of a princess seam type of thing, might work, and it could be rather stylish having a sort of a full outfit in the velveteen. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about that, if you think it's a good idea. But I've got quite a bit. I mean, it's long and skinny, but it is, what would it be, 1.5 meters, 2 meters, something like that. So there's potential. If it was a fitted waistcoat, could be on the plans, we will see. Just jumping in for a bit of housekeeping here. You might have noticed in the background that I've sort of hung something up against the mirror, and it's a bit ugly, but the reason I'm trying that is I've noticed my focus has been going sort of in and out, and the lens seems to sort of be trying to focus on other things. And I've tried playing with all the camera settings and everything, but my current theory is that actually what it's doing is seeing the mirror and trying to focus on sort of the distance to the mirror, and then of course the reflection means that the distance is doubled because it's reflecting back to the camera. And I'm wondering if that's what's going on. So I'm covering up the mirror just to test this theory and see if that's what's making it happen. If it is, of course, I'll try and do something a little bit more stylish, because the other problem, the functional problem really, is that I can't actually open the door with that clipped up there. I have the clips up at the top, and that just holds my backdrop when I'm doing my sort of like little studio chat to camera pieces, but it does mean that I can't open the door. That usually isn't a problem because I've got my chair in front of it anyway and there's nobody else in the house, but of course it's the weekend and that might cause an issue. But fingers crossed it's going to solve the issue, so it is in test at the moment. The other thing I'm doing today is actually hemming up this kimono. Yes, I've got another one. I couldn't help it. I actually took my daughter to the kimono shop when she was over here in, when she came home from Germany for Christmas. And we went in, I think she went home with 3 kimonos, and I found this absolutely gorgeous full length kimono. Just gorgeous colours. I really like the grey. I felt it set off my hair. It's just gorgeous. And I just thought, it's a sort of, it's not a very silky one or a special fabric. I mean, the guy in the shop seemed to think that it was silk, but I'm not sure. It's got a cotton lining, not a silk lining, and usually if they're silk they would have a silk lining. So I'm not sure. I think this is more likely to be cotton, to be honest. It's got a sort of sheen on it. But I just loved the print, and he gave it to me for like a ridiculously cheap price. So I thought, well, I've got to have it, because I saw it on the rack and I thought, oh, that's quite a lot of money, because I think it was $60 or something, and I thought, oh, that's quite a lot. And then there was a sign on it saying half price, and so I was like, oh, that means it's only $30. And then when I sort of pulled it out and put it on and I was umming and ahhing, the guy said, oh, you can have it for 20. So you can't leave it on the rack, can you really? And it's just glorious on. And I know, like, where am I going to wear a full-length kimono? But I have a plan. The plan I have is, I think it would make a fabulous sort of summer coat. That's my thought anyway. But you know, like when you're going out, like for instance, when I'm wearing something like this, I often can't put things over the top because they have quite they're sort of wider and they have quite wide sleeves. But the kimono, of course, has a lot of room in the sleeves. So I thought, oh, it might be quite nice just to pop it over and wear it out like a summer coat. But obviously at the moment the length of it is too long, because they're designed that you sort of like put them with a belt and they scooch up and fold over, so they're supposed to be extra long. Well, this one is too long and I want to wear it open. So my daughter pinned it up for me last weekend, which is very kind of her. So I'm just really just going to do the hem on it so that I can just sort of throw it on as a cotton summer coat. It was lovely. I had to have it. So the first job, of course, is I'm just doing the laborious sort of unpicking part. And then I've got it all pinned and marked, so I'll just sort of turn it up. It's right down at the hem, so it doesn't need to be the most beautiful hemming job in the world. And of course I'll give you a bit of a twirl when I've got it all hemmed up and you can see what it looks like. But I'm sure you'll agree with me, it's very nice. So this is the dress. It fits really nicely. It's slightly stretchy fabric, so it sort of fits my shapes, my curves. There's room for my rear end, which is unusual. It's got this nice asymmetrical sort of design through it, a sort of a flap here, and the flap that goes over the cross top there. I really like the asymmetric design, and I think it also sort of flows, makes your eye sort of travel down your body. I think it's really quite flattering. But I don't know if you can see the issue. The issue is these shoulders. They are just a little bit too wide. I have very narrow shoulders, and too wide, always the problem. And of course, usually if I get something that fits my bottom half, it doesn't fit my top half, which is the case here. Slightly stretchy fabric, so it's not that bad. And I have worn this dress before, but I would like to make it better because it is such a beautiful dress. So I just need to take in probably about 1 centimetre on either side, I think. But it is also just a little bit large here as well. Now, it's not supposed to be that sort of dress where you can sort of like party wildly. It is a tailored dress, so the arms, you know, you don't lift your arms too much in this. But I thought if I just take in a little bit underneath, that will reduce the arm side. Hopefully when I bring it in, that'll increase the arm side, and between the two of them, hopefully I can get the sleeve back into the arm side correctly. And as I say, there is a little stretch in the fabric, so hopefully it won't be too difficult. So I've decided I need to crack on with this because it's been sat on my wardrobe for ages. It's on the board as what I need to do. Actually, I'll turn you up if that's better. Sorry, I was chopping my head off because I was trying to get as much of this dress in as possible. Very, very difficult to film in my house. I've just tried setting things up in my bedroom and I just could not get the distances and the light and all the rest of it. So I've got a sort of a creative setup here. I've got my little ring light here. I've got my bigger light down below, and then I thought this distance I can just about get far enough away from you if I put you on the windowsill. So that's where you're set at the moment. Now it's one of these things you think, oh, I shouldn't be too hard. I always say that and run into difficulties, but I have done this alteration before, but more on things like sort of shirts and tops and things that weren't really that sort of critical. Obviously this is a tailored dress and I want to make it so that it fits really nicely. I should also apologise for my hair. It's Saturday, I just got up and it's crazy. One of the things about having really short hair, literally in the morning I just got up and went and then walked out. I didn't do anything else. Didn't even have a hairbrush. Now I have a hairbrush, I've bought a hairbrush, but I don't know if it makes much difference because I get up and it's sort of crazy. But anyway, hopefully it's a sort of an in-between stage. So yeah, please excuse my hair. It is all over the place, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm only talking to you. So don't tell anybody else that my hair's a real mess. But yeah, what can you do? I think it's the stages you go through. I have tried hats and scarves and all the rest of it, but taking clothes on and off, there's no way I'm going to do anything proper with my hair, so it's just going to be what it's going to be. And as we go through these videos, as it's growing out, you're just going to have to go, ooh, that's wacky today. And just sort of join along with me on this journey of growing my hair out. So it's been quite some time since I filmed that first piece of video that you will just have seen. That was way before Christmas. As you can tell, hair changes. I can't really sort of mix up these little bits of footage, can I? Because you'll be able to see by the length of my hair what sort of era we're in. We're now at the beginning of March, can you believe? Wow. Anyway, after Christmas I'm back on this dress. So we've had a little bit of a movement forward because the other day I put the dress on and I asked my daughter just to sort of pin how far in I would need to take the shoulders, and we actually came up with a different solution for the shoulders, which I'm really pleased about. We discovered that if I just put a couple of shoulder darts just in here, that would bring the shoulders in enough that it wasn't looking like it was hanging off. And in a lot of vintage patterns, you will see that there are shoulder darts at the back to make it fit well, because of course on your shoulder here, it sort of comes in. So the shoulder dart sort of accounts for the curve of your shoulder. So pinching in this little bit here, we've just pinched in a little bit on the shoulder, and it only needs to be a short dart down to here, and it will fit so much better. Now there is still probably a little bit I could take in under the arm, but so much easier. All I need to do then is just basically disconnect sort of a small piece at the bottom of the arm, not touch the shoulder seam up here at all, and just then sort of take it in a little bit, which will be much easier to do and won't risk that hole taking the entire sleeve off and sort of trying to reset it in, which could all go horribly wrong, you know. So I think this is a lower risk way of doing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take in these shoulder darts. Once I've done that, I can put it on again and then reassess what needs to happen underneath on this side seam piece. So that's the plan. I will need to unpick the lining from the top, do the little pleats on the lining and the outside, and then restitch the top seam. So hopefully shouldn't be too much work, but fingers crossed, let's hope it goes well. So just sort of show you the label. It's an LK Bennett of London in a size 10. Okay, so this is a bit of a sort of a lesson in unintended consequences, because I took in the darts at the back, I brought the shoulders on, which is great, but now what it's done is it's obviously taken this higher to my neck and created this roll here. So unfortunately, I don't think that is the quick fix with this dress. I'm going to take out the darts out of the back now, because obviously I've just stitched them in. I haven't taken any of the seam allowance off or blended it in or anything like that. So I'm just going to take out that line of stitches back to where we were. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to reset the sleeves as I originally thought. So back to square one. I have put all that back together. I've hand stitched all of those shoulder seams, so the lining is now reattached. So we are back exactly where we started at the beginning of this entire video. The dress is in one piece. Now what I've done is I've actually put my dress on and got my husband to put in a pin on the shoulder seam as to where the shoulder, the sleeve head should actually sit. So that's where it should be. It's about almost 2 centimeters in from where it's sitting currently. So the next thing I've done is actually pinned, I've put a pin where the sleeve head meets that shoulder seam, because of course when I put this sleeve back in, I want these things to line up. I have also put a pin underneath where the side seam comes in to the sleeve, because interestingly enough, it isn't where the seam line is on the sleeve. So I've put it in there just so I know exactly where that is supposed to join in with that side seam. And then the next job is to basically turn it inside out. So as it turns out, quite happily, the body is completely lined, but the sleeves are just simply attached with a line of stitching and a line of overlocking. So taking the sleeves out is going to be quite simple, because I don't need to affect this lining that lines the whole body of the dress. So now I'm just going to unpick all the overlocking, unpick the seam that sits it on. The next job after that will be to take in the side seam, because of course by moving that sleeve head in a bit, I've now increased the the circumference of that arm side. So I'm going to have to take a little bit in underneath here, which I need to do anyway, so that then I can fit the sleeve back in. So that's what I'm doing next. I'm picking some more. It's another day now, and I've just come back to looking at this dress. I have unpicked the sleeves. They are now detached. They're just pinned on to where it meets at the shoulder. They're detached, and the lining all around the sleeve has now been detached as well. This has allowed me to get to the inside, to the side seams, which of course I need to take in under here. Now, interestingly enough, it looks to me like this has been altered before, because when I'm looking, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but when I'm looking, I mean, this is my new pin line that I've put here, but this seam line is not where you would imagine, and it looks like the original seam line has been unpicked, and then this very, very wiggly, weird sort of stitching line has been put in place sort of in a bit. Quite badly, actually. It's not well done. I would say that this edge is the original edge. It's not been trimmed because the overlocking is consistent all the way up. But somebody has sort of taken in a chunk quite badly. This also happened with that blue lace dress, if you remember. When I actually undid it to take the side seams in, it had already been taken in before. So interesting. So what I'm going to do now is hopefully do a much better job of lining up this seam. I have tried it on pinned and it fits really nicely now, and it's just taken in that extra gape that I had. This will of course slightly reduce the arm side, which is what we need because of course I'm bringing that shoulder in a little bit. So my next job is to sew down these two side seams, then I can reset in the sleeve, and hopefully that will go well. Okay, I have taken both sides in, I've tried it on, the fit is really nice I think. I don't think I'm going to trim the undersides yet. I probably need to and re-overlock, but I want to get these sleeves in because at the moment if anything goes wrong I can just unpick it and start again like I did on the shoulder seams. But I think what I might do is get these sleeves in, because I think I'll do it a different way. I'm going to put the sleeves in to the main outer fabric, and then what I'm going to do with this lining is actually hand tack it over the top afterwards, which will mean that I'll still have access to the side seams once I have the sleeve in. I think that's a safer way to do it, so that's what I'm going to do next. Then I can always backtrack if things go badly wrong. Well, that wasn't hard. I think I've still got to do the linings, trim the insides and get it all in properly. It needs a good press as well, but they're on my shoulders now. The actual sleeve heads are on my shoulders, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't have the wrinkle across, which is what I had when I did the little pleats at the back. So I'm pretty pleased with that fit. Obviously I will need to press it and all the rest of it. Now, it wasn't as easy as I thought. Never is, of course. And for some reason I got my calculations wrong. I actually had to take in some of the sleeve seam of the sleeve, obviously. So what I did was I didn't actually affect the hem, the base bit. I just sort of graded it into the seam, but I did have to take it in at the top here so that it would fit in the arm side. So clearly by actually moving it in, I don't quite know how, but I actually managed to make the sort of armhole smaller. Thinking, yes, no, because obviously the amount I took in, yeah, that'll be it. The amount I took in at the sides was more than I had sort of accounted for, so therefore I had to take in a bit on the sleeve seam as well. I've done that. Anyway, so of course to a light glance the dress doesn't actually look that much difference at all, but to me, and wearing the dress, I feel now that it fits me properly on the top. It's on my shoulders, it's not gaping at the sides, so that when I do that I don't feel like I've sort of, you know, there's these huge great wings of extra fabric. It fits neatly there, it's on my shoulders, so I'm so much happier. It is a well-fitted dress all over. It's sort of quite form-fitting. So I always felt that with it being form-fitting on the bottom and then not form-fitting on the top, it just accentuated sort of my wide hips and my narrow shoulders. So I'm really, really happy with the result now. I really like this dress and I'm very pleased with the way it's looking. So let's go to the reveal.